Chapter 7. The First Cold Breath. After the workshop, Ethan began to hunt the thread in earnest. He did it the only way he could, in the only hours that were his, the long still time after the apartment slept, when the small body lay quiet and his grown mind ran free. Night after night, he lay in the dark and reached down into his own chest, into the place behind his breath where, twice now, he had felt the cold, bright filament stir. And night after night, he found nothing. It was maddening. He knew it was there. He had felt it bloom on the day of the teapot, and again, fainter, on the night of the toaster, both times in the wake of bending the world. But he could not bend the world to order. He could not break a teapot every night to coax the thread awake, and reaching for it directly, straining after it the way you strain to remember a name, only seemed to drive it deeper. For weeks he failed. And in the failing, slowly, he learned the first true thing about it. It did not answer to effort. It answered to its opposite. He noticed it by accident, the way most real things are noticed. One night, exhausted past striving, he simply gave up. He stopped reaching, stopped straining, stopped doing anything at all but lying in the dark and breathing in, out, and letting his crowded, grieving, calculating mind go quiet for once, setting down the map and the dates and the promises and the whole vast weight of what he carried, until there was nothing left in him but the dark and the slow breath and the still. And into that stillness, unbidden, the thread stirred. He felt it the instant it moved and almost lost it again to the leap of his own excitement. But he caught himself, made himself go still once more, soft, empty, patient. And the thread, as if it had been waiting all along for the noise to stop, rose. It rose like cold water finding a crack. It uncoiled from the deep place behind his breath and threaded upward through the center of him, thin as a hair and impossibly clear, neither warm nor cold but somehow both at once, a single filament of something that did not belong to the body at all. It was not blood and not breath, and not the dull animal hum of being alive. It was other. It was clean. And as it rose, Ethan understood, with the sudden total certainty of a man recognizing a thing he has known all his life without a name for it, that this was the stuff the tide had been made of. This was what the changed people in 2027 had burned with behind their eyes. This was power, the real kind, the kind the dying world had bowed to, and a thread of it was rising, here, now, in the chest of a 2-year-old in 1994, 33 years before it was supposed to exist anywhere on Earth. He held it. That was all he could do, and it took everything to keep the body still, the mind empty, the excitement leashed, and simply hold the cold breath where it had risen, at the center of his chest, neither grasping nor letting go. He held it for the length of one slow breath. He held it for 2. On the third, the body's exhaustion shivered through him, his concentration cracked, and the thread sank away as quietly as it had come, back down into the deep, leaving only the dark and the slow heart and a small body trembling with something that was not cold. Ethan lay still for a long time afterward, staring up at the slow-turning moon of the mobile, and let himself, finally, understand what he had. It was not foreknowledge. Foreknowledge was a map of a road already walked, finite, fraying at the edges, spent a little with every use. This was different. This was not a memory of the future. This was a seed of it, here in his own chest, and seeds did not fray. Seeds grew. He thought of the changed ones, the burning eyes, the men who had stood up in 2027 and done what ordinary men could not. He had assumed in his first life and in all his planning since that such strength came from the tide, that it was poured into people from the torn sky, and that without the sky there was no getting it. But the thread in his chest had not come from any sky. It had come back with him, through the cold place without stars, planted in him by whatever had said again. He carried his own private piece of the thing that ended the world, and he could touch it. And tonight, for 3 slow breaths, he had held it. If he could hold it, he could learn it. If he could learn it, he could grow it. And if he could grow it, quietly, secretly, in the long dark hours, year after year, while the rest of the world slept its way toward 2027 with no idea what was coming, then he would not have to be one of the swept away again. He would be one of the ones who stood up. It was the most dangerous hope he had let himself hold, and Ethan held it the way he had held the thread, carefully, without grasping, knowing how easily it could break him. He was 2 years old. He had touched real power for 3 breaths and been left trembling and emptied by the effort. The distance between that and standing against the tide was so vast he could not see across it, and he knew, being who he was, having failed at so much in his first gray life, exactly how many ways a long road could go wrong. But the thread was real. He had not imagined it. It rose to stillness, and it could be held, and it was his alone, the one thing in all the world that no map, no luck, no clever toddler's trick had given him, a thing he could only earn, one empty, patient breath at a time. In the dark, Ethan Cole closed his small eyes and went still again, and reached down once more, soft and unhurried, into the deep place behind his breath. He did not catch it that second time. But he had learned where to look, and now, for the rest of his second life, he would never stop looking.